Hi, I'm Bran, and I love Hallmark Christmas movies.
I'm Brian. I like Hallmark Christmas movies.
I'm Dan, and I despise Hallmark Christmas movies.
I'm Alonso, and Hallmark Christmas movies own me. What can I tell you? And this
is the Deck the Hallmark podcast.
Deck the Hallmark, it's his podcast. Brandon and friends host his podcast. We hope you like this jolly podcast.
Alonso,
Brand deciding not to join in the intro today at all.
I got a little choked up.
Is just
This
being
is gone
complete. Just the deflation is happening.
Hello, everybody. It's great to see you. Happy Wednesday to you and Yorn. Busy
Yorn
week
is here.
Yorn,
Yorn,
in
get
this
out.
one. Wow.
My bad. Hey, guys.
Yes, Yorn.
You think maybe next year you're going to invite me and hang out a little longer?
Every time we invite
A
you
little bit longer?
and Yorn,
A little bit longer?
we always tell you got to leave right away.
Right, but I hang out a little bit longer?
You always hang out longer than we want
This
you
is
to
why we
hang
don't
out.
want him to.
Hey, guys.
Oh, Yorn.
Man, everyone's anticipating this episode, and during the holidays we do a better job with this.
Hey,
With keeping
guys.
this out of that first.
Yorn.
Hey, guys.
Man,
Yeah,
this-
buddy. What's up?
Oh, man, I forgot. Oh, shoot.
This is great.
This was
Oh,
worth
hey,
it, for
guys.
sure.
Fun to have.
Hey,
maybe
guys.
even yours.
I had a good Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Yorn.
I wanted
Appreciate
you
that.
to know that. Got to go
Yeah.
by.
It is Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. We're in the thick of it now, everybody. This is an exciting one. This is Catch Me If You Claus. And listen, Alonso joins us every Monday at this point, and everybody knows him and loves him. But sometimes we got to go back to our roots. We got to go back to just having Alonso joining us for a Hallmark movie. And this just feels right. It feels like we're back at
does.
home, Alonso.
It's taking me back to season one with
Season
Luke
one.
McFarlane. Even
That's right.
You did it on the Sunday after Thanksgiving. That episode you recorded with us
yeah.
the Sunday after Thanksgiving, and then we needed to pick up the one with the books and the dad in Hawaii,
Right.
and you stayed for that one because we were recording 7 that evening. So yeah,
Oh, what a
it was
time.
like it
What
was
a time to be
yesterday.
alive.
That's
It
right.
was a time. It was a time. Alonso, did you have a good Thanksgiving?
I did. As people probably know, my husband had hip replacement surgery on the Monday before Thanksgiving. So we had already decided this year was going to be Chinese takeout, and it was delicious. But we had some friends come over, and I picked up some pastry things from a local bakery. So it was a lovely, non-traditional, but still enjoyable
I
Thanksgiving.
love it.
What's your go-to with the Chinese takeout?
We had a place here called Northern Cafe that does really great dumplings, and they do this like lamb cumin thing that is like
okay.
my favorite.
Wow.
All right.
Sounds good. And last but not least, any Christmas decorations that you've seen out and about out in LA that are really blowing your mind yet?
The idea that I've been out and about when my husband just had surgery a week ago is kind of hilarious.
Yeah,
So
there you go.
I did get to the Grove, which that's a nationally televised thing now
It
when they
is.
turn on the Christmas tree at the Grove. So yeah, it is, it is living up to everything you've heard. And I think as we speak right now, the Hollywood Christmas Parade is going on, which is incredibly cheesy. Like you would think that that sounds like it would be sort of magical and wonderful, but it's a little on the discount side, but it's still good TV. So keep an eye out. That's going to be airing, I think, on the CW at some point.
Wow.
I don't know.
Shout out.
have
Well, you know what's
CW.
not cheesy? The
Yeah, that
Greenville Parade.
Greenville.
That's
Yeah.
right.
We'll be
That's
live
right.
streaming that
The
this
poinsettia
weekend,
parade,
Saturday.
That's the stuff.
That's what I mean.
That's
Joseph Poinsett
this
from
is
here in
living.
Greenville. Yeah.
we might be a small town, but it's not a budget parade.
No,
It-
the parade is almost too long. It is whatever you think too long would be, and just subtract one float. It's perfect.
Yeah.
It is everything you could want. We have like 30 or 40,000 people lining main streets. It's a great time,
and
we're
we
gonna
get
be there.
to judge it. We get to judge it all in real
Too
time.
much power. I
3
feel.
days.
Almost too much power.
They had us back. Can you believe we did it last
unreal.
year and they had us back?
I'm always surprised when anybody
Yeah.
comes back.
That's right. That's true.
For any reason,
So
whether it's
Greenville is a big enough city to have a parade and have people watching it.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
This
right.
is Greenville.
This
This is
is
living.
Yep.
This is Greenville, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Catch Me If You Claus. It originally aired on Thanksgiving night, November 23rd, 2023, and it went a little something like this. This movie kicks off with a fantastic intro package like an old spy movie, cut to Avery Quinn practicing her news story that isn't actually for her. She's a wannabe reporter, maybe one day, but she's currently just a producer, like getting the scripts ready and all that good stuff. She's up for a reporter gig. She auditions for it. It does not go perfectly, and so she does not get the job, despite her mom being a well-known, well-renowned reporter for 30 plus years.
Well-renowned.
Well, not world-renowned. I don't know. I wouldn't go that far.
Not even good renowned.
But well-renowned.
World-renowned. No, well-renowned, yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, can I get
Well
that steak
respected,
well-renowned?
That's funny. She is given some advice. Infrared mask to help with her skin. That's really what you need. It's Christmas Eve, and of course she's at work, and good thing, because the Christmas morning anchor has laryngitis. So she's like, you know what? I'm going to throw my name in the hat, and then my hat in the ring. And then they'll pull the name of that hat, and they'll be like, there's only one name in this hat.
Name in the hat in the ring. So they had to choose her
Where are
hat
you throwing the ring?
and the name out of her hat.
Yes.
Her name, her hat. Okay, I got it.
And
I
that's
just wanna
how you-
make sure
that's
I'm
how you
understanding.
Throwing the ring on the antler.
Well, if
Yeah,
you
yeah,
just
get it on the antler.
if you just throw your hat, how do they know whose hat that is?
Yeah, that's true.
You need to put your name in the hat. People don't think about that.
Put the lime in the coconut.
Yes. And they say, let's give it a shot. 5 a.m. Christmas morning, you got the gig. She wakes up in the middle of the night, infrared mask on, and she hears something in the living room. She goes to check it out, and there's a guy dressed as Santa. She startles him. He nails his head on the fireplace and knocks him out. She assumes that it's a burglar that she's heard about that's been hitting people's houses dressed like Santa. But when he comes to, he claims that he is not some sort of burglar, but he is the son of Santa. He says that this is his first time making the rounds, and it's already been quite the night. He says the transfer of power hasn't happened in full force yet. I'm making some boo-boos. You shouldn't have even heard me. That's my fault. She is not having it. And even after seeing him open the door with a key that he says is North America to deliver a gift to her neighbor, she tries to drag him to the police station, but they are stopped by an alarmed security guy named Ricky. Ricky is the real MVP. She drives him around Ricky, much to Ricky's surprise. The bad news is the real Santa crook has struck across town, and now the police are on high alert looking for Chris.
High alert.
Looking for Chris and Avery. She needs to get a phone so that she can, call up the station and all that good stuff. Knocks on the first door that they find, and it turns out that it's a rap party for a theater troupe that does a Christmas Carol every year. In order to use the phone, they make her audition to join the troupe. It's a troupe-only phone, not those troops, although we do love these troops as well. Not the same, though, and I do want to put that on the record. Got myself into a bit of a pickle there. I got a bit of a pickle. Yeah.
Put your name in the hat.
There's
put the hat in the
levels.
ring.
Your love of the troops is well renowned.
Yes,
That's right,
yes, well renowned. She basically
They're known all around the well.
So she does a monologue, which is basically just her yelling at them. They love it. After seeing him interact with the theater troupe, she becomes convinced that Chris is indeed Santa. So now she is committed to finding the real Santa crook. And maybe she can use that for her news story, the 5 a.m. Christmas morning news. The cops track them down, though, so they sneak out in full Christmas Carol costumes. They get a ride to the news station. They hop out. The theater troupe drives off. They are immediately, though, kidnapped by some folks in a white van. Turns out it's the mayor's baddies, saw them live, who are looking for a hard drive that they think they stole because they think that they are the Santa crooks. Chris and Avery are like, you got the wrong people. So the baddies are like, we're going to go to your house and find the hard drive. They are seated back to back. they are holding hands. They are starting to bond about what it's like to living in the shadow of someone else's dreams. It's for Aaron. Then they bring in the real Santa crooks, and everyone's like, what the heck? Why are there two sets of Santa crooks? Avery breaks them out of the ropes. They make a run for it and snag the flash drive on their way out. To hide from the baddies, they hop in an unlocked truck. She hops on his lap.
I'm sorry, it's a Hallmark movie, Brain. Could you repeat that one more time?
Straddles him, and they make out. Hot and heavy. It's a hot and heavy straddle sesh.
I did see them live.
Yeah, I bet you did. You would.
I regret it.
You would
I
go to
regret
that
it.
show.
I immediately regret
It's
it.
an 18 plus.
It is.
It is. Yeah.
21.
Should be 21. Should be 50.
Obviously.
So they make out hard. The baddie sees them and just assumes they're just a couple of wild and crazy kids, so he keeps on walking. They end up back at her place, not like that, and are followed shortly by Chris's dad, Santa. His dad is mad at this whole situation, but quickly gets over it because, he's Santa, and he can only be not jolly for so long. You're legally obligated. The mayor shows up, just walks right on in, which you can't do that. Santa reads him the riot act, and the cops show up to arrest him for all the things that are on that flash drive. We know about all those things.
Of course.
They hop onto the sleigh to LAX. They get to the studio, and she breaks the news about the mayor, and she crushes it. Afterwards, she is greeted by Chris outside. They kiss some more, and they hop on a sleigh to go get some brunch. And that, my friends, was Catch Me If You Claus.
We did it.
That's exactly right. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back, and we're going to break this movie down. I think we'll do 4 segments.
I love that.
Maybe
Yeah.
5th. We'll see what happens. Here on Deck the Hallmark. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. We're talking about Catch Me If You Claus. Thanksgiving night, Son of Santa, Luke McFarlane. What's not to love? Let's find out. It's time for the hot take. It's where we share exactly how he felt about
That was
this
a weird
movie.
way to intro us into the hot take.
Yes.
What's not to love? Let's find out.
Yes. Brian, what'd you think of Catch Me If You Claus?
Yeah, you're kind of right there. What's not to love? I mean, I like this one a lot. I like it a lot. A really good mystery, like a real life scenario mystery, and I kind of would have liked more of that, of the corruption details.
He wants more corruption,
More.
everybody.
Well, I mean, it's Christmas,
Pork, I
so
had that
I understand
too.
you had more corruption.
No, God, no, are you
I
kidding?
understand. It's Christmas, so you got to cut the corruption a little short.
More band practice and more corruption,
a little
please.
more info on the corruption.
Less hot and heavy straddle sesh. More.
Well, can we just
More corruption,
smash it all
please.
together? Straddle sesh and corruption. Atali Ricci is so fun. Like, we need more of her in just movies throughout the year. Luke playing the Son of Santa, like, he was so innocent and playful. Like, he was so good in this role. A lot of fun. I feel like he was really perfect for it. Really childish. And the music
You saying
score,
Luke is childish?
in this role, he was childish. Yeah, he felt like childish.
But you said he was perfect for this role.
He was perfect.
childish.
Yeah.
Okay.
Stand by all those words. Yeah.
Childlike. There's the one.
No, childish.
He
He was childish.
God,
Yeah,
Luke,
childlike.
you're so childish.
Well-renowned.
Well-renowned, childish. The score was like so good. Like the music score was, I don't know. It felt like they put a lot of effort into it. The music carried the movie very well-renowned, I would say, about the music score. It carried it so well. Like, the music was so perfect. It was mysterious at times. It was like exciting at times. And so I had a tough time not making that my feels when we get to the next segment, but it's not. Spoiler alert.
Okay.
But
Something
the
for the show.
score really
Corruption
stood
will
out to me. So
sneak up
overall,
on
like,
you.
really liked this movie. Just more corruption, please.
You number one for you? Number one?
No, it's not number one.
Not
It's-
number one.
It's
Okay.
up in my
It's
top
up there, though.
four-ish, I think.
Okay.
Top
Got it.
four-ish.
It's up there.
Got it.
You know, everyone's top four. They love
That's
it.
childish of you.
Alonso, what'd you think of Catch Me If You Claus?
Super charming. And what I think is so interesting about the success of this film is not just that it's so good on a Hallmark level in terms of being kind of a caper, and with some farcical elements and some Santa is real elements, but weirdly, through sheer coincidence, it has almost the same plot as Disney Plus's Dashing Through the Snow, and it's like 10,000 times better. Because Dashing Through the Snow, as we'll be discussing on an upcoming Monday, feels like a first draft where the plotting does together and the character beats don't really land. And this movie is doing the same kind of like, it's Santa and he's got a corrupt politician's, MacGuffin that they've got to chase down and blah, blah, blah. And it's all handled so much more smoothly and wittily. The performances are a delight. Luke McFarlane maybe never better in a Hallmark movie. Between this and Notes of Autumn, he's like killing it this year.
It's the year of the McFarlane.
Telling you what, I mean, like I've always been a fan, but I'd say post Bros McFarlane, not counting that Christmas Village movie, he's really like nailing it these days. Just a lot of fun. And this is the kind of movie that you hope to get when Hallmark promises you this kind of movie and they rarely deliver it.
I love what's not to love. I said it before the hot take, and I'll say it now. What's not to love about this movie? I felt like it looked really good. I felt like maybe they spent a little bit more money on it. It felt more like, it just felt fuller. Like I'm watching it, and I'm not 100% positive. I felt like the aspect ratio of this movie was just a little bit different. It made it seem a little bit more cinematic. I thought like there were a couple of shots that I just thought were really interesting and different. And I love it. The only thing that didn't hit was like I don't care what's on the flash drive. I know that you were supposed to, but it just like, it was hard for me when they got there, and it turned out that he renovated his office and like was doing some weird stuff with money, and it's just like, okay, like
couldn't tell you
because they can't kill anybody, right? Like they can't like have the mayor be responsible for somebody's death, right? But that's what it felt like. We had like murder stakes with like a mismanagement of money. Yes,
I guess.
Alonso,
Bran, may
you
I?
May, may.
I referred to this as a MacGuffin, and there's a reason for this. This is a term that goes back to Alfred Hitchcock, where he talked about how a MacGuffin is the thing that the movie is ostensibly about, but ultimately doesn't matter at all.
Yes.
So, like, the movie Notorious is ostensibly about uranium hidden in wine bottles, but it's really about, are Cary Grant and Ingrid Bergman going to get together? Like a lot of, in Psycho, there's the money that she's stolen, and it winds up in the trunk of the car, and the car winds up in the swamp. And it's like, ultimately the money doesn't matter. It's about, Norman Bates, so I don't think this movie is pretending like what's on the flash drive matters. It's there as a plot device to make all the other things happen, to like have them running around all night and being chased and getting kidnapped and yada. And they have to tell you what's on it because they have to tell you. But I don't think the movie's not pretending like, oh, this is stop the presses, everybody. It's the thing on the flash drive. That's just there as the motor for the love story and the comedy and everything.
I would say you need to care about the MacGuffin at least initially, or at least understand it. I think that's the thing, is like in Mission Impossible, whatever we just watched, like that key, like I can still see it in my head and I know why that key is important. And then when it turns out we're just here for the stunts, that's fine, because I still think there are stakes, even if it's a MacGuffin. And I don't think this movie even tries in that regard. I don't think it tries to make that clear or understandable or matter.
I mean, they give you a whole news story at the beginning about the possibly corrupt mayor and the dude who has the same name as Chewbacca, which I'll get into, and trying to like make a big thing about it. So I kind of felt like they set it up, the premise, and then you can forget about it because it's not really important.
Sure. Yeah. But ultimately, all of that, whatever, the movie was great. The two leads were dynamite. More Italia Ricci, please. And this is definitely in my top 3. I think it's flirting around 2 or 3 right now. So we'll see how it kind of shakes out.
So I do this thing, I probably shouldn't, but with my letterbox, because we rank all these movies, where 20 to 30 minutes into a movie, I put the movie on the list. Like I just guess where I think it will end up. And then throughout the movie, I'll like move it up and down the list. And this movie was a yo-yo. This movie, when it works, holy cow, does it work. Nina Wyman has written some really fun, snappy dialogue. Italia Ricci should be in all of these movies. She's so great. I agree about Luke McFarlane. He's never been better on the network ever. And I think you're right. Before Bros, I feel like Luke showed up and just kind of was the thing that he thought every Hallmark lead should have. And that could have been direction or the network brass or whatever. But he always just felt like he was the same character and it wasn't very interesting or exciting. And since then, Notes of Autumn in this, he's so good in this movie. And so he and Natalia Ricci lean in and embrace the bit. But the bit doesn't always work. I think when it works well, I had a blast. And when it didn't, I was kind of miserable. I was very like...
It seemed miserable.
You were kind of miserable?
I was very up and down in this movie depending on where the scene... Like sometimes they're in... Like the stuff in the theater troupe I thought really worked. And then I feel like there are long stretches where they're in between those fun set pieces that I'm like, why do I care? There's a lot happening.
Were you bored sometimes?
Yes,
I was.
No. And I will say this, Holiday Hotline, for instance, is a movie that this movie takes a massive swing. And I'm always big on the movies that take a massive swing. And this movie takes a huge swing. I've never seen a movie probably this outlandish at Christmas time on the network. And so good for them. Holiday Hotline is a movie that I thought they bungled the ending, but for the first hour, like I was pretty mesmerized by that movie. Like I didn't, this movie felt very much all over the place to me. Like sometimes really funny, really fun, inspired, sometimes just kind of dead weight. And so it is in my top 5. The swing alone, I think the swing alone makes it one of the best of the year. But it wasn't as consistently enjoyable as I wanted it to be. I think I have it at 3 or 4 right now. So right around the same place Brian has it.
It's a well-renowned swing.
It's well-renowned.
Well-renowned.
Yeah. Let's get to all the feels. We're talking about what this movie gave us those feels. Brian.
Yeah, my feels ended up just being the theater troupe. The whole, that whole scene was...
absolutely.
It felt like so original and new and unique. Like that whole just scene, that whole... environment was something that we just haven't seen or haven't felt like that. Just that whole vibe. It was awesome. And it was just so funny how like you want to use the phone, you got to be a member. All right, I want to be a member. And so they see it through. You just keep going and pushing and pushing.
And there's a Tony's bit in here.
I'm
not convinced we didn't. I'm not convinced we haven't done that on this show.
I literally after the second Tony joke, when he says somebody get her a Tony, I said we wrote this bit. Like the Deck the Hallmark podcast wrote the Tony's bit.
Should have TM'd it.
We had to have done that bit at some point.
Yeah.
It was really fun. And that's my feels too, but to connect that to my hot take, the movie is all contrived because it's Santa's son. You have to buy into that. I'm fine with that. But when they go absurdist like that and it works, it's great. When you've got Santa's helper seeing a Santa on the floor, you can only see his back and he thinks it's Luke McFarlane. Like at that point, I'm just like, what? Like how many more of these do we need to stack on? Like it just seems like it's too much. But the theater troupe stuff, I could have stayed there for the whole movie.
Yeah.
I thought that was really funny. I could have been there the whole time.
Yeah.
Alonso, any feels?
The theater troupe. It was like one of your bits, but funny.
All right.
That's good stuff right there.
Yorn has something he wants to say to you about that.
It's Yorn back. I'm actually with Alonso on this one.
This is why you're the worst.
See, I knew Yorn would have.
God bless.
I definitely love the theater stuff. That we get an animated opening credit sequence. I'm like, is this even Hallmark? Great. I couldn't believe it. Now, Brand, if you've never seen Catch Me If You Can, go to YouTube and watch that opening animated credit sequence. It's one of the greats.
And the poster of this movie very similar to the poster of Catch Me If You Can.
That's
fun. But but the fact that they would actually, whenever I get I'm so used to like the shots of New York at Christmas time with the font that came free with the computer, doing the credits. So you give me an animated like this, you give me a cold open like in Christmas House. I'm immediately paying attention. The fact that we get a little edgy with the humor, I am so far behind schedule.
Dude, that was great.
All time
line of the movie.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, and definitely, yeah, the Tony's bit. I mean, the theater sequence. I mean, all the way to the end where they're sneaking them down the stairs in the middle of everybody. Like that's just like a level of goofy you don't get in these movies. And so, kudos to all involved.
That kiss was insane. Can't believe it made it to air. And also at the end of this movie, when she's running through the halls of the station, it looked great. You know, she's doing this whole scene where she's running through everything and she's grabbing the jacket and she's hopping over stuff. And then she says, "Why is everybody doing things right now?" I thought that was great. And it also looked fantastic. So,
I didn't think about it, but I think that's a reference to, there's a great bit at the beginning of broadcast news where Joan Cusack is running through the hall with the videotape trying to get it to air on
that's
time.
funny. Yeah.
That's fantastic. I didn't even think about that.
Well played.
Let's take a quick break. We'll come back with the Wait What, the What, the Hallmark here on Deck the Hallmark. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. It's great to be here. Great to be in the house of the pod, and great to be talking to Alonso and talking about Catch Me If You Claus. It's time for the Wait What, where we talk about a movie where the son of Santa is walking around the streets, and we have to talk about what in this movie made us go, wait, what?
It's tough.
Brian, what you got?
Yeah, it is tough, but there were a few little things that stood out to me. Are there any other news anchors at News 71? Yeah. Every time they show the TV, it's one of the two news anchors we know who work for the news station, and that's it, Misty and Bink, and that's it. And the only ones are Bink Bankerson.
Bink Bankerson.
That's right. My man, the mayor, came down to somebody breaking into his house at, it was 11:40 at night, something ridiculous like that, in a full suit. Like, he's still dressed in a suit.
It's impressive. That's commitment.
Yeah. So maybe it was, I don't.
That's how you know these days they don't care. You know what I mean?
That's how you know. That's how you know you're stealing charity money. If you're wearing a suit that late, you're up to no good.
That's right.
And I thought it was supposed to be snowing all night long. And it snowed a lot, a good bit, but there was a scene right before the almost inappropriate kiss. It was like clear streets. There was hardly any snow on the streets. And so I'm like, storm stop early? Like, are we not committing to the snowstorm? I thought it would keep going. Oh, like, really hard to pick things out of this movie, though.
Alonso, what you got?
Yeah, weather is always an issue with these movies, especially if the weather is part of the plot, but then we decide that, like, the airport is sunny. Like, it's, that's always bizarre. Stop
okay.
it.
That is a well-renowned MacGuffin. From what
sure, yeah, that is.
Except mine was real. Brand's making stuff up. I will not be equated.
We have a fifth segment tonight called Well-Renowned MacGuffins. We've all brought something.
Put it in the hat.
It's like show and tell. That's right.
No, okay. So the guy who supposedly has the goods on the mayor is named Peter Mayhew, and that is the name of the guy who plays Chewbacca in the original Star Wars movies and the Star Wars Holiday Special, incidentally. And so it's such a random thing where I'm like, did they stumble into this, or is this meant to be a shout out? I couldn't tell, but it was just there, and I couldn't not think about it every time his name was mentioned. Early on, the anchor, not Bink, what's her name?
Misty.
Trish? Misty, thank you. Misty gives what we're supposed to sort of take as shallow and vapid advice. And it's like, you're not wrong. I mean, you're talking about anchoring the news. I think in the summary, Brand said that, like, she wanted to be a reporter. I think if she wanted to be a reporter, that would be one thing. But to want to be the anchor, there is a great deal of, like, purely, external visual stuff that you have to deliver. And tragically, because we live in a patriarchy, women are expected to deliver even more than that. But I mean, men also. So it's not like she's trying to be like a hard-hitting journo with the New York Times. If you want to be an anchor person, you do have to be thinking about, like, how you look and what you're wearing and how's your skin and all of that stuff. So as much as Misty was being portrayed as being a vapid idiot for saying that stuff, I'm like, you should be taking notes. Misty knows what she's talking about.
When is your seminar on skincare? That what you do for being on camera all the time? Because your skin looks great, Alonso.
Oh, thank you. Well, you grow a beard, and
that
takes out like 2/3 of it right there.
That's true.
It's shortest class ever.
Yes.
The only other thing that called out to me, because like you said, this is a movie about Santa's son, so whatever. The blazer that she grabs on her way to the studio is green, which I get it. It's Christmas time. But most, if not all, TV studios employ a lot of green screen. Yeah. So if you're wearing that blazer at the desk, you're going to have whatever graphics of the news playing all over your torso.
Maybe that's what she wants.
Yeah, she wants to stand out. I only have a couple things. One, in the bar with the theater troupe, I think it's Tiny that says, "I found some spare chocolate chip cookies," which I don't know, man. Like I don't know where they're
stale.
He said stale.
Yeah.
Stale.
Even better. Even better.
Great. It's well renowned that that's what he said.
At one point, she says to Chris, "You have your own massive duty." Come on. You expect you say that you expect me not to bring it up? You have your own massive duty. Last but not least, it's a blizzard outside. This guy is sleeping in the back of his truck.
That's the big
just
one.
A flannel, just ready to go. Middle of the blizzard, no problem. He's out cold. Yeah. So good on him. Good on him.
Yeah, the fact that he doesn't need to bundle up there
Doesn't
at
need
all.
to bundle.
He's got a flannel on and he's
all
good to go in
Yeah.
the back seat of his
He's good to go.
truck is impressive.
Now, were you guys not expecting the joke was going to be that he was going to be the same actor who plays the head of the theater troupe? Because he talked about how people think he looks like the delivery guy from Tony's.
Didn't put that together. Huh?
I thought that was because when they established that they're in a Tony's truck, I thought, oh, that would be, but no, it was somebody
That would have
else.
been really funny.
Yeah.
It's funnier
That
than the movie.
would've been.
Yeah. So I think this movie has made me team just white blanket over foam snow. I think in the wide shots, the foam snow looks great and it doesn't look fake at all. As soon as you get to a close up, it's miserable. The foam snow is so bad in this movie, and it like you can see the bubbles in it. And it's worse than just the white blanket. Like maybe I'm just so accustomed to it, I forget about it and I don't see the white blanket. But the foam snow was so distracting to me in this movie. It bothered me from the beginning until the very end. And early on, they're outside and you don't see anybody's breath and there's snow everywhere. No one's slipping. Everyone's running through it and splashing. And there's just like clear liquid bubbles everywhere. And I couldn't handle it. It was a choice. I didn't like it.
At the very end where he points and like the snow suddenly happens, it's like being at one of those Disney World fireworks things where they turn the snow machine on at the end. Yeah, for sure.
It doesn't help that we're watching it on a state-of-the-art screen.
That's right.
We're six
feet away from a 55-inch 4K. That doesn't help. That's true. The way with a surround sound system, the way we should be watching.
As everybody should be.
I feel like far out, it looks better than the blanket.
The wide.
Yeah.
It does look great.
Wide
When it's a
shot,
big
me.
shot, carry a big boy.
Panda Big Boy. That's exactly right. I also was very disappointed by Santa Senior. He just basically played angry dad. Like we have this movie that is just absurdist from start to finish. I would have loved a more holly jolly Santa who's just like, my dumb kid messed up again. I guess I got to go. But this guy was playing it like he was Rudy's dad. He was playing it like he was very like, this is the family and you just blah, blah, blah. And I was like, bro, it just doesn't need to be that much. Like just back off.
It's only the most important job of all time.
Like
Dan.
just click it down to a
Well,
one.
and it's his big night. I think any other night of the year he'd be a lot more.
And he twinkled up pretty quick. Like all things considered.
That's true. That's true.
It's a massive duty.
It's a massive duty. It's the biggest duty.
And there's two other ones that I have that aren't duty related. One is that they put them in costumes to sneak them out of the theater troupe, and for some just inexplicable reason, they decide to take those costumes off in the van, and so when they're dropped off at the news studio, they're immediately apprehended.
It's true property.
Why didn't you keep the costumes on
She's a part of the troop, so she
until you were in the studio? Like, I don't
argument.
like, come on, like, just keep them on until you know you're safe.
So you're saying that the people who wanted to kidnap them, who are waiting for the studio, if they see a guy and a girl, but they're dressed as like,
he gives them a shot,
whatever,
he gives them a chance.
If they're wearing Victorian, it's not
better
them.
Than it's better than a Santa coat.
I wonder if they did thought of that, and they did a bit where like, is that them? Do we take them anyway? Like,
Yeah,
should we?
yeah.
But they're
Oh
part
no,
of
it's Mr. and Mrs. Cratchit. I can't now leave them. They're not
And
here
then
yet.
lastly, as with every Santa movie we talk about here, there is this weird issue of how much Santa knows and doesn't know about these people. It seems to be very, and I know Luke McFarlane's character is like, I don't have the full Santa magic, so he gets to play it both ways. But when Santa shows up, it's very weird that he knows some stuff about the mayor and not other stuff. And there's stuff he could clearly help you with if he just would tell you, because when the mayor comes in, he confronts him and he knows all this stuff. It's like, why don't you just immediately go, hey, the mayor's doing all this terrible things. And so I get it. It's Santa, but the thing about Santa that's fun is how omniscient is he? And so this movie doesn't have any sort of consistency in that regard. That's all I got.
It's time for What the Hallmark.
Yes.
It's where we, wow. It's time where we wonder, man, you threw me off. You were so excited. It's time for What the Hallmark.
Forever!
It's where we wonder what could have been. Maybe I'm going to get some clarity. Any questions that we still have? Brian, you must have a freaking good one, bud. What do you got?
I feel it is a good one. It's one that really has been on my mind since we just finished the movie. And it is about like the omniscient Santa, how much does each Santa know as they're inheriting the responsibilities, and like the Christmas magic wasn't really there for Chris, the son, throughout the movie. Like when they were tied up, like there was not even a discussion of like, can you just use your Christmas magic and get us out of here? Like obviously they made a decision, like no Christmas magic allowed. You can't pull strings. It has to be, it's off the table. And so I was just starting to think a lot about like the one, what's the word? The one Santa.
MacGuffin?
Thank you so much. The renowned MacGuffin, where you have like the one Santa who's immortal, right? An immortal being versus the lineage like they're doing here, where you're handing it down over time. And it's such a huge question in my mind. And it was just not even part of it. Sort of wasn't MacGuffin. It wasn't
You're sending someone out to do the job of Santa. Brand's already said it's the most important job in the world.
Sure is.
And he doesn't have the ability yet to always know what everyone asks for Christmas. Like he doesn't have that. He says it comes and goes. Yeah. I would assume that would be enough to keep him at home.
I would think so. Keep him on the bench. Yeah, for sure.
You can't have him out there like.
I think he needs reps. Listen, you got to go out there. You got to kind of get some like real in-game play to kind of see like. Dan, I can watch basketball all day long, and I do.
But why not?
I can't go out there
with the real deal Santa.
Right.
That's a good question.
How long do you do that?
How long?
This is like how Hallmark Channel allows the interns to run an ad for the first Haul Out the Holly and not for the Haul Out the Holly sequel during the past week, for instance, just as a hypothetical.
They didn't do that, right?
Oh, they
did that. They sure did.
Yes, they did.
I mean, it's a great movie.
Sure, who doesn't like
right? Alonso, any What the Hallmarks for you?
I was just thinking, given how much Italia Ricci is really trying to make her bones as a journalist and sort of, break a big story, how much is it killing her to have the mayor is corrupt story and not the, oh, by the way, I spent the night with Santa Jr. and he's real story.
Yeah.
Like I would think like the journalist inside her would be like really dying to bust that one out, but like is having to contend with not doing so.
Let's talk about Straddle Kiss.
Sure.
I mean, that had to work its way up the ladder for approval, right?
I can't believe it. I can't
hop on Straddle Fun Time. That's gotta go all the way up to the top, right, for approval.
Yes.
It's only because they were playing possum.
That's right.
They were trying to be,
It wasn't for sexy time.
No, they
it
weren't
was
trying
only.
to be
No.
But still, like that is.
I really honestly, when I saw it, I couldn't believe it, and I was thrilled that they did it. It was a great scene, and the chemistry was there. I want to know what the conversation was with the Hallmark brass.
I mean, at that point,
that's the most pelvic moment on this network, I'd say.
At that point, they're a skosh north of horizontal. So it's like, you're close there. You're close. What's going on? This network's going to hell in a handbasket, and this is just...
There was not room for the Holy Spirit.
Sirree.
No, I was shocked. Mine was more the Santa stuff. Like, how are they letting this guy out? Did the presents get delivered since he wasn't doing any of them? We never really see a single present get delivered aside from the one that they do together. But also, I would love to know the conversation that went along with the straddle scene for sure.
Yeah,
those are mine too.
Yeah. Well, lots to like about this movie. We're talking about criminals. We're talking about some shady doings.
There could have been some
If there was
fighting.
ever a fight, it would be in this movie, right? I don't know. Maybe I missed it. That's what Vic
Good thing we
Webster's
got
here for.
got an expert.
It's time for Fighting Chance with Vic Webster.
Fighting chance with Vic Webster. A fighting chance with Vic Webster. Was there fighting in the movie? Did someone get hurt? It's a fighting chance with Vic Webster. A fighting chance with Vic Webster. A fighting chance with Vic Webster. Vic Webster.
If there was any more action in this movie, it would have blown my mind. But luckily, my mind is still intact.
A fighting chance with Vic Webster. Vic Webster.
If you're watching on Philo.tv/DTH, you got to see Victor throw up a donut for us. That's fantastic.
Oh man, that was a lot of fun. Man, Philo's great, huh?
Isn't it?
Sorry, I just you
Unlimited
mentioned that, and
DVR,
now I'm thinking about
all
it.
year long.
Watch the show; it's great. It's a good watch.
It's a good watch.
It's a good watch.
We got a channel.
We got a
now,
channel
too.
now.
It's
You can just watch it
we could have
anytime
done
you
this
want
at the
to.
beginning. Whatever.
Anywho, maybe we'll do it on Monday or Tuesdays episodes. We'll
Good,
see.
yeah.
think we
Alonso,
did.
thanks for joining us,
Yeah.
and you'll be back with us next Monday, of course, each and every Monday throughout the year. Thank God. Until then, and tomorrow, and every day ever after. Maybe we're the first to wish you a Merry Christmas.
Deck the Hallmark's a Bramble Jam podcast is produced by Aaron Shea. For more information on Deck the Hallmark, you can go to deckthehallmark.com. For more information on the Deck the Hallmark family, you can go to bramblejamplus.com. Deck the Hallmark is presented by Philo TV. For a free trial of Philo, go to philo.tv/DTH.
Of Hump Days?